What's up guys, my name is Zero Heroes and welcome back to more Men of Russell Squad 2 on this nice sunny day in the desert. And today we are playing on, well, we're using the Valour mod, which I recently actually installed because I saw another YouTuber who actually did a cinematic tank. It's not a tank review. Is it Packer PK, I think it is. Oh, I know I'm saying his name wrong. I am sorry, but basically he installed a Valour mod and he did like a really cool cinematic of all the tanks that are in the mod. But I'm going to be doing an actual review of it. So if you want to go check his video, then I highly go recommend it because his videos are awesome and he's a really good friend. So, but today I'm gonna be showing you the Italian tanks, or the Italian tank division, shall we say. Now, I don't really have enough time to actually cover all of it because again, at work is kind of causing pain right now, but I hopefully should be able to cover as fast quickly as possible, or whatever it is. So if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you do subscribe, because if you do, you will get a shout out at the end of the video. And also guys, we are only, I think, 8 subs away from reaching 500 subscribers, so I believe that we can actually do this. Our goal is to reach 500 subs before the end of the year, and I believe we can easily achieve that goal. So if we can do that, that'd be absolutely amazing. If you haven't already subscribed, make sure you do stay subscribed to keep up with all the content on the channel. Now, getting straight into things, now I have kind of put this into order. I've put these tanks into order so it does kind of look nice and tidy, because, you know, it might kind of, a little bit of my OCD does kick in. So we've kind of got, now I actually never expected the Italians to have this many vehicles, but, you know, so far of it, looks like it does. Now, you can actually use German vehicles in this faction, but again, I'm not going to use that because you guys already know what the German faction, or the German tanks already in this game. But, and I think I actually have done a mission with the Italian tanks, but you just haven't seen all of them, so this is it. Alright, so let's start off with kind of the wheeled vehicles, shall we say, because you can see all of them are wheeled, well, except from this one over here, but all of them are wheeled vehicles. Now, starting on with the first one is the Auto Blindata Fiat 611B. This thing carries the main weapon, as you can see, is actually a 3.7 centimeter Vickers Temi L40. Now, I think the Vickers, I believe, is used of the British gun, so it's kind of like a British gun mixed with the Italian gun. So basically, the Italians stole it off the British, and then the Italians just kind of modified the name just to make it Italian. So it's very much kind of a British gun, because within the Vickers, or if I am wrong, then of course you guys will let me know in the comments down below. And also, so I think, yeah, that is it. Now, this thing is actually very good for just kind of your start of the battle, you know, going in and kind of pinning enemies down, not suspending it, suppressing them as quickly as possible. I don't think this thing actually has a machine gun on it, so you need to be careful of that. It is good at handling lightly armored vehicles, but be careful that this thing is very also lightly armored as well, so it can get blown up very easily. Oh wait, no, it does have a machine gun. It has a machine gun at the back of the vehicle with a wee registration plate, so that's actually a nice wee cool feature here. So, or it actually also has another gun in the back here, so it looks like it has like 3 guns. The secondary weapon is the 6.5 centimeter Breda. If I'm pronouncing that in the cartridge, the cartridge, I don't even pronounce it, as a 6.5 times 52 millimeter machine gun, I think that is as well. So, God, my voice is feeling like shit right now. Okay, moving on to the next vehicle is the Fiat Asalda. Wait, hold on. I'm gonna get these names right. The Fiat Ansaldo Autobildo AB43. That is definitely a mouthful to say. So this thing again is another kind of wheeled vehicle. So the good thing is that you don't get tracked in this thing. But although the tires could possibly get blown off, but again, this is possibly why you have that third vehicle for extra terrain. And as you know, it's got a nice wee registration plate. Now, the main gun that this carry is, again, is actually a higher weapon than the first vehicle. This thing is a 4.7 centimeter Alsado L40. This thing is actually finally Italian and not stolen off the British. So again, this thing is very similar to this one. It has, I think this thing just have a wee bit more armor. I believe, yeah, this thing does have a wee bit more armor. It does have a machine gun at the back here, which is really cool. So any enemies that are trying to flank you, well, you'll be able to shoot them from the rear. So that's actually quite a nice feature that you have there, and of course the paint scheme is actually really nice. And of course you also do have an extra machine gunner at the top, which carries I believe it is the Breda Modello 38. It's an 8 point oh, I don't even know what gun this is. Oh no, I didn't mean to move it. Oh, see, this is why I'm not very prepared for these videos. This thing is I don't know. It has 3 machine guns. I didn't even know that. I don't know where the other machine gun. Oh wait, there's 2. You know, okay, but basically this thing is very good for kind of starting at a light vehicle, suppressing enemy infantry as well, and also kind of dealing with lightly armored vehicles. Okay, moving on to the next one, which is the Fiat Alsado Autobildo AB41, and this thing carries now a 2 cm Breda M35 L65, which I believe is actually, I think it's actually a slightly bigger gun, due to this is the L65 version. Even though the centimeters, this thing has kind of the 4.7 centimeters, but even you can tell by kind of the size of the guns that this gun here is slightly bigger, so you'll be able to deal with kind of lightly to starting to deal with medium tanks, but don't kind of count on it. Maybe start to go to those heat rounds if you want to go through those medium tanks. So definitely, again, good kind of to deal with lightly armored vehicles and hopefully infantry as well, with the machine guns being at the back as well, which I believe all the kind of this Fiats have even well, until this one here. But, okay, moving on to kind of last wheeled vehicle of the Italian tank division, and this thing is the Fiat Alzado Autobildo AB40, and this actually thing carries it doesn't have that main gun that it does. It carries kind of secondary weapons, or the main weapons are the secondary weapons, which is uh our two Rivelli Modello 35. So they're actually 8 times 59mm RB Breda guns. So I'll kind of give you a taste of what it's like, because so as you can see that there's no sound because I kind of turned off the sound effects or turned it down, but basically there are machine guns and there's more machine guns on the back, so definitely good with dealing with infantry, not so good against dealing with tanks. So definitely be careful when you're picking your tanks, make sure you actually click the correct one. And finally, last off, we are on to the final one. The starting off with the tracked vehicles is the Semoventi M1542 Contraero. I don't even know pronouncing that right, but basically this thing, as you can see, is very much an AA gun, anti-aircraft gun, and it carries, I believe it carries its main weapon is a 2 cm Ciotti L70. Again, I'm very bad at pronouncing these names, so I am sorry for any Italians watching this. I am very sorry, but you know, that's just how I do. I mispronounce things with my Scottish accent. So this thing actually carries, I think this vehicle doesn't actually carry any machine guns except from the main guns itself. So, and you can see that the armor isn't great on all these kind of lightly armored vehicles, are not great, so keep these things at kind of medium to short range, because again, the range isn't great, but kind of keep them at distance as well, so that, you know, it doesn't get taken out easily. So that is kind of the lightly armored vehicles are done. So again, remember, just be careful when picking it. Personally, one of my favorites that I would pick out straight away is probably maybe the Autobildo AB41, just because it has the biggest gun and the biggest caliber gun in this selection over here. Plus, it has machine guns as well, so definitely very good at dealing with the targets. So definitely, I'd pick this one over any other ones that they have. But of course, your choices can differ. Okay, now moving on to the main medium tanks. So I'm just keeping an eye on the time, making sure. Oh, what the hell? Hello, game, game, game. Yes, hello, we're back. Sorry, for some reason my game crashed, or freeze there. Okay, now moving on to the medium tanks. Now the medium tanks or the mediumly armored tanks, they kind of, again, I did put them in order, so I'll quickly go through them as quickly as possible, and then you guys decide, let me know which one out of your medium tanks is your favorite here, as well as kind of the lightly armored. Tell me which one is your favorite down below. Okay, let's start off with the Caro Armato M1139. Now this thing carries, again, it's a very strange tank. Now you think on the turret it would carry the main gun, but the main gun is actually attached to the kind of the hull, this chassis per se, and the turret here carries what is it? It carries a 2 times Breda Modello 38. So just be careful when kind of going with this tank that you don't actually take it over a hill, because the gun isn't on the turret, it's actually kind of attached to the hull here. So it's kind of a tank destroying medium tank, but it's classed here as with the medium tanks, shall we say. So that is kind of, just be careful when with this, because it's actually got a very cool combination of that you don't take over a hill, because your turret is very easily vulnerable to attacks. Now again, it does have that really awesome machine gun, which is good for suppressing down enemies, infantry, and also dealing with tanks as well. So again, these are tanks that are, again, kind of go up against your lightly armored vehicles, because it doesn't have enough, the caliber isn't big enough to deal with those medium tanks yet. So definitely be careful with it. And also it has no kind of traversable turret with the gun, so definitely be careful when moving this thing around, and keep it at long to medium range. Okay, moving on to the next medium tank, which is the Caro Armato M1340. Now this thing is actually, a proper medium tank. It has finally has a caliber, or the gun, on the turret. So this thing carries a 4.7 centimeter Ansaldo L32. I hope I'm probably not pronouncing it right, but whatever. So this thing carries, again, this thing would be, again, more likely to deal with lightly armored vehicles, maybe dealing with Panzer IIIs, maybe slightly lower, but definitely it does have armor. It now goes up to 15 to 42, kind of ranging between those armor range, so definitely it can stand up against lightly armored enemy vehicles such as maybe Panzer IIs. You might be struggling against Panzer IIIs, so again, keep this to medium to long distance, and hopefully you'll be fine with it. Again, it does carry those nice double machine guns, which will be able to mow down the infantry very quickly. Okay, moving on to the next tank, we should say, is the Caro Armato M1441, and this thing carries now a larger caliber with the 4.7 Asaldo L40. Again, bigger caliber, therefore you'll be able to hopefully now deal with your Panzer IIIs now. Also, it does have that gunner, or the tank commander, I should say, although just watch out for him, because he is actually vulnerable, and I'm not going to, he kind of freaking looks like one of these stormtroopers that you see in Star Wars, I'm not going to lie. But definitely be careful with him, because he is vulnerable to kind of open shots in the head and snipers, so definitely keep him away from snipers, as he is vulnerable in this big open top area. But it does have that large nice machine gun, as well as the 2 machine guns down here, which can easily mow down the infantry. Now it doesn't have the machine guns at the back like the light vehicles, but you should be able to always just keep these vehicles forward and never get surrounded by your enemies, because you will get outgunned very seriously, and your armor isn't great, again, ranging between 6 and 42, so again, be careful when you're dealing up with your Panzer III tanks. Okay, moving next on to the second last tank that we've got here, which is, I have to say, the camos is very nice on this one, and this is the Caro Armato M1542. This thing carries a 4.7 centimeter Ansaldo L40. You can see the kind of the main weapon red. Again, it is actually the same as these two are actually the same tanks, but the only difference is this thing actually has slightly more armor, and it has again that vulnerable commander with the machine gun again, and you've also got two machine guns down there. So the only difference actually is between these two is that the M16, or sorry, the M15 has actually more armor, so that's really it, and also has a better camo. So that is about it with those two. Alright, moving on again, kind of dealing with your Panzer IIIs. Okay, moving on to the very, very last vehicle that is in the Italian arsenal, which is the Caro Armato P40. Now, this thing carries a 7.5 centimeter Alzado L34, which is a very deadly weapon, and you can easily deal with Panzer IIIs, and your armor is actually a lot better, so you can probably stand up to now Panzer IIIs. I wouldn't possibly go up to Panzer IVs or Panzer 4Gs, because those will take you out easily, and I don't think you'll even have enough penetration to even deal with them. So I would just be careful. Again, the Italian tanks aren't great for dealing with armored vehicles. They just don't have that giant caliber that you need, but definitely you can stand up against your Panzer IIIs and pull up a good fight against them, as well as it's having its nice machine guns. Now, it doesn't have that nice that commander that you have up here with the machine gun, and actually I don't actually see the machine gun port unless it's actually, I think the machine gun ports are kind of, yes, so you can see it's very small, but you can see the machine gun port is actually right beside the gun, just kind of around the gun bantlet here. It's right there, so it is very small to see, but basically that is it. So definitely you're gonna have to be more careful when infantry do come up to you, because you don't have that same amount of secondaries as you do as the other two vehicles over here. Okay, so overall, what is my prediction and what is my favorite vehicle overall? Now, personally, you would probably think that I would go for the Carraro or the Amato P40, but actually you'd be wrong. Probably I would actually go for the Carraro Armata M1542. I know it's just got that smaller caliber gun, but you've got those two machine guns which make it 10 times deadlier to deal with those infantry, and that's what you need in this battle. That infantry are very deadly to tanks which carry 80 rounds and 80 grenades, so definitely I would pick the Carraro Armata M1542. So definitely one of my favourite picks out of this one over here. Do I have time? Yeah, I've got time. Okay, so moving on to the very, very last section of the Italian Arsenal tank division. So we'll start off with the very first one, which is a command tank, which is a Carro Commando M41, which is literally says in its name, it's not a very powerful tank at all. It's not good at dealing with tanks. The only thing it's good at dealing with infantry. As you can see, its main weapon is the Modello 31, is as you can see right here. This gun right here, I don't think I can actually pull it down anymore. Yep, there you go. I'll give you a better view of this wee gun over here. And it also does have this machine gun as well. Again, I think this is really only meant to be for a commander. As you can see that the drivers are in it, but you can get a commander as well. So I'll give you just a quick example, see if I can give you a tank commander, or I really can't, but I'll give you another one, but I'll basically put another tank crewman in here. I'll just get one of them because I don't need both of you, but I'll get one of you to go in here, and basically this is for the tank commander to take charge of the assault, and he will get in it in a minute. Okay, moving on to the very next vehicle, which is the assault gun, or the tank destroyer, and it is the Samevato. Okay, hold on. Before I start, you can see that now he is actually in it, and it is, you can actually, I don't think it is, I don't think, you can actually deal with it manually. I think it just fires automatically. So that is the command tank. Next is the assault gun, this tank destroyer, and it is the Semevonte. Again, I'm not pronouncing these names wrong, but it's the M43 10525. Now, as you can see, these guns are going to be a lot more powerful than your medium tanks. This thing carries a 10.5 centimeter Alzado L25. Now you can probably start dealing with your Panzer IVs now, because these guns are very powerful, and of course it is a tank destroyer, so it will have that a wee bit more armor than your medium tank. So 14 ranging armor is 14 to 75 millimeters of armor. So again, you can block maybe Panzer 3 shots, although again, as you can see, this area here is very flat, so that doesn't really help. Although if they do kind of hit off this kind of top mid plate here, it will ricochet, or you do have that flat bit here, which makes it vulnerable as well. So definitely, but it is a very small tank, so it does look like you can be quite sneaky with it. The probably camo value is quite low as well, which makes it, or quite high I should even say, which makes it excellent for concealment and keeping yourself at long range, and you won't get detected, so keep in mind of that. Okay, moving on to the next tank, which is another tank destroyer, which is the Simoventi M43-7546, and its main weapon is the 75 centimeter Alsado L46. Now, this gun is actually bigger because it's a version of the L46, and this is the L25. Now, this thing, again, good with dealing with your Panzer 4s, even possibly your Panzer 4Gs. Your guns are starting to get that powerful now with your tank destroyers. So again, keep this thing at range. The armor is a lot better than the tank before. This thing ranges from 15 to 100 millimeters, but of course, you know, this is Men of War, so it might not actually be that accurate. Again, you need to be careful because this, you can see it's very flat, so definitely be cautious because Panzer 4Gs will go through you like knife through butter. It'll be easy. So make sure you keep yourself at long range, and make sure you keep outside the enemy detection range, and you should actually be fine. So that is really it with that vehicle. Okay, moving on with the very last vehicle, and this is the Simoventi M41-9053, and this thing carries a 9 centimeter Alsado L53, which I believe is the largest gun caliber in the Italian army, in the Italian tank division in this game. And this thing will damage your Panzer 4Gs. It will damage, possibly, if you're feeling lucky, possibly a Panther, but that possibly depends. You might have to fire some heat shells or whatever this thing carries. Well, it doesn't carry heat shells, it only carries AP and HE shells. So once you're out of AP shells, then you're screwed. So make sure that this thing is actually very vulnerable. As you can see, it basically has no armor. Again, make sure it's a glass cannon tank, so make sure you keep this thing back as far as possible. Keep this thing at a long distance, and you should be able to be fine, as it does have that nice good caliber gun, and it should be and you should be absolutely fine. But again, make sure none of these vehicles get flanked from behind, because it doesn't have that nice turrets that you do with your medium tank. So there we go. And probably have to say, if I had to choose one of these vehicles overall, I'd probably choose the M41-90, or actually no, I would actually choose the 7546, just cause I feel like it's more it has more armor, and you still have that nice punchy gun. So yeah, there we go. That is it for the Italian tank arsenal or division. So tell me down below, guys, which one out of these sections here, pick one of these, pick one out of each section of the tanks, if you know what I mean. And then also, what is your favorite tank of what tank I reviewed today? Leave your comments down below. I'd like to actually see what your answers are on what your favorite tank is in the Italian arsenal. So guys, that is it for today. I'd like to thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy this video and you do want to see more tank reviews, or sorry, more faction reviews with the Valour mod, then make sure you leave a like on this video. And even if you want to see me do a battle with these tanks, and then let me know in the comments down below with the Valour mod. And of course, if you do want to play for the mod for yourself, I will leave it in the description down below. So other than that, guys, I'll say thank you so much for watching and our support, and I will see you in the next video. See you later, and goodbye.